Ever get the feeling like some numbers just kind of stick with you? Today we're going deep, really deep into the number 7. And no, not lucky number 7, although we're talking numerology, and let me tell you, 7 is a big deal in that world.
It's funny you should say that because numerology, it's not about, predicting the future or anything.
Right.
It's more like, think of it as a personality code.
Okay, I like that.
Each number, it has its own vibe,
Yeah.
and it can tell you about your strengths, what you struggle with, even your purpose.
Right.
And 7,
Oh,
our sources, they all say it's this mysterious one, wisdom, searching for truth, the whole spiritual side of things.
so less about what my lucky number should be and more about
Me.
exactly a cosmic personality profile, you could say. All right, I'm game. But speaking of profiles, our sources keep saying 7s are introspective, analytical. So does that mean, like, we're all going to be these philosophers, always thinking, writing in our notebooks?
Not necessarily brooding, no, but 7s, they are introspective, it's true.
What's that even mean, really?
It's not just being quiet, it's this need to understand why things are the way they are, and that makes them amazing at solving problems.
Oh, I see.
They look at things from every angle.
Like they've got this radar or something.
Yeah.
But there's another thing. They're also called intuitive. So they're logical, and they trust their gut. How does that work?
Imagine this. The analytical side, it's like a detective, right? Gathering clues, figuring it out. But their intuition, that's the compass, tells them which clues matter most.
So like Sherlock Holmes, but with a sixth sense. That's kind of cool. Speaking of connections, one source, they mentioned the number 7 and the Chariot tarot card. Is that just random or?
It's interesting you bring that up because when we're digging into numerology, those links to other symbolic stuff, it's worth thinking about.
Okay.
In tarot, the Chariot often means willpower and this journey you're on with a clear vision.
Right.
And when you think about how 7s are always looking for knowledge, for what things mean,
It kind of fits.
it really clicks. Yeah. This drive they have, like that chariot driver.
So it's like this epic quest for the truth,
Yeah.
basically.
Huh.
But how's that play out in normal life?
That's where the whole personality thing comes in.
Right.
They think deeply, analyze everything. It makes them natural truth seekers. They don't just accept things at face value.
Got to get to the bottom of it.
They want the core truth, the underlying why.
No shortcuts.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
like they have this built-in BS detector.
No sugarcoating for these folks. But with all that thinking, doesn't it get to be too much? Sources also say 7s are super independent, like lone wolves. Is that a good thing?
It's a bit both, honestly. That independence, it's a strength, for sure. They depend on themselves, not easily swayed by others.
They think for themselves.
But it can make them isolate themselves if they're not careful. Even lone wolves need a pack sometimes.
True, finding that balance is important. Which reminds me, the sources, they mentioned 7s and this overthinking thing.
Yeah.
Is there a point where, I don't know, being introspective turns into just getting stuck in your own head?
You hit the nail on the head. It's a fine line sometimes. It's like anything else, too much of a good thing. That deep thinking, it's powerful, but they've got to be able to switch it off sometimes.
So how do you do that? Like, one source said meditation, being in nature. Is that legit or just like a hippie thing?
Not necessarily hippy-dippy.
Yeah.
Unless that's your thing, no judgment. But think about it. What do those things have in common? Stillness, quiet, a break from all the thoughts.
Okay, I get that.
So for a 7, meditation, it's like hitting reset. They can observe their thoughts without getting carried away.
So it's not about like emptying your mind completely.
Exactly. More about creating space in there.
I can dig it. Speaking in space, relationships. One source said 7s are serious when it comes to love, not into playing games.
Right.
Wait, is my birth number going to be on my dating profile now too?
Not quite. But it does say something about what you look for. Remember, 7s, they crave authenticity, that deep connection in everything. That includes relationships.
Makes sense. So no swiping for a quick confidence boost. These are the long haul folks. But does that mean they're all like poets and artists expressing their love in fancy ways? What about work? Where would a 7 actually do well?
Funny you should ask that because the sources, they're all over the place when it comes to 7s and careers.
Oh, really?
We see them as researchers, analysts, tech people even, but also creative stuff. Writing, music, spirituality.
So spreadsheets or sonnets, what's the common thread?
It's not about the specific job, it's the why. 7s, they need to use their brains, uncover hidden stuff, new ideas, make a difference.
Okay, less about the what, more about the why.
Exactly.
They need to feel like their work matters, like they're contributing something.
100%. It can't be just a job, you know?
Right.
Sevens, they need that freedom to explore, try things out, follow their
The
curiosity.
autonomy, right?
Exactly. It's like they've got this internal compass pointing them toward work that, like you said, aligns with their values. They got to be
Sure.
learning, growing.
That makes a lot of sense. There's one more thing. These little nuggets in the sources, they're
Mm,
so interesting. One mentioned K2, that Vedic astrology, right?
You got it. K2, it's this shadowy planet, and it's linked to, well, spirituality, introspection, this deep need to figure out life's mysteries.
Whoa. It's like what we've been talking about all along.
It really is. Like those different systems, they're all saying the same thing, just in different ways.
I'm with you. There's also something about sevens being super sensitive to other people's energy,
True. It's definitely a thing. Remember how intuitive they are. Makes them really empathetic. They pick up on things others miss completely.
like emotional sponges almost.
In a way, yeah. Which is a gift. But also, it can be overwhelming. They've got to set boundaries, protect their own energy, especially if they're around a lot of input, let's say.
Makes sense. Got to filter out the noise. But hey, at least they've got that BS detector we talked about.
That's one way to look at it.
Right. Seriously, though, it's like having this whole other sense, picking up on what's going on beneath the surface. Wild. But speaking of, okay, this is going to sound weird, but some sources talk about colors, even gemstones that go with being a seven, like light blue, green, pale yellow. Those are supposed to be lucky colors. One even said something about a cat's eye gem for wealth and influence. Come on, is this for real? Or just a bunch of like mystical mumbo jumbo?
It's easy to think that, right? It's just superstition. But a lot of times, there's actually a deeper meaning there if you look for it.
Okay, I'm listening.
Take colors, for example. Different cultures, they've always connected colors to certain energies, vibrations, even moods.
Right, like how some colors just make you feel calmer or...
Exactly. So light blue, often it means peace, clarity, which fits with how sevens need that quiet, that introspection. Green, it's about growth, harmony. And that lines up with sevens always searching, learning about themselves.
Huh. And pale yellow.
Often connected to thinking, communication. So again, it matches those sharp minds, always wanting to share what they're learning.
So it's not about following Lucky Charms blindly. It's more like these colors, they reflect something that's already there in a seven.
That's a great way to put it. It's about the energy those colors represent and how that might affect us.
Makes you think, for sure. What about the gemstone thing, though? Should I be wearing a cat's eye ring now for good luck?
Whether you buy into that stuff, that's up to you, of course. But it's interesting, right? The cat's eye, it's often linked to intuition, protection from negative vibes.
And we were just saying how sevens are like emotional sponges, so
Exactly. It's like this little energetic shield helping them navigate the world.
I like it. Starting to see how all these pieces fit together, even the weird ones. But before we wrap up our deep dive on the number seven,
Mm.
all our sources, they agree on this. Sevens are on this, like, lifelong quest for truth. But whose truth are we talking about here? Is it about finding the one right answer to everything, like the meaning of life, the universe, all that?
That's the interesting thing about sevens. It's not really about reaching some final destination, you know,
Yeah.
uncovering this big universal truth written in stone. It's more about the searching itself, that curiosity that never goes away.
So less about the answer, more about always asking the questions.
Exactly. The journey is the destination. For a seven, every discovery, it's just another step on the path.
Wow. That's actually really, I don't know, kind of beautiful when you think about it. It's not about having all the answers. It's about being brave enough to keep looking, to keep learning.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, to everyone listening, what mysteries are you drawn to? What truths are you searching for? The journey's out there, and let me tell you, it's going to be one heck of a ride. This has been The Deep Dive, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive into, well, whatever fascinating thing we uncover next.